This is the beginning of Excel Project 7, and the first part of 7, what we're going to do is set up what we call a template that will put in some just general values and ideas. We'll save it, and then we will proceed later with how to use this template. And I'm actually on page 415, and what I'm going to do is set up a blank spreadsheet using some of the information they give us on 415. First thing I'm going to actually do is the first two steps where it gives the column widths. I'm going to take a moment and set up the column widths, and this is step 2. So I'm going to go through and set those up. And if you're doing this for real, you would probably not know specifically the column widths that you would use, but with this you can use their numbers and I guess eyeball it or adjust it later if you need. But since they give us the column widths, we will use the column widths. And again, I'm just putting in the values they give us. Oops, didn't want to do it that way. Actually, don't want the number 14 there. That's the how wide it should be. And each is 3. Okay, so we have the column width set up. Next thing we're going to do is in row 1, I'm going to type in Clearpools Inc. and sales analysis. I'm going to highlight across through J. So A1 through J1, I'm going to merge and center that. I'm going to do the same thing for row 2. A2 through J2, I'm going to merge and center those. Okay, now the trick here, I'm going to highlight both of these, and I believe they want us to make the font size 24 for those. And I'm going to use the paint bucket, and I'm going to shade that in like a you know what, they did tell us, I apologize, go under page layout and go to colors and choose the aspect color scheme, and now that'll allow us to use the right, under home, the right shade of pink or red, whatever you want to call that. Also, with those two areas highlighted, I'm going to put a thick border around that area. It's starting to come together. Now the next thing we need to do is put in our labels, and the labels are in row 3. Pretty basic for most of these, but I'm going to mention one idea. Categories, okay. For cell C3, it's 2014 in store. To get to the next line, hold down your Alt key, ALT, and hit enter, and it will go to the next line. Sales in dollars, and see how that works that way. Now here's a little shortcut the book doesn't mention. I'm actually going to copy that cell by using the autofill, and I can come in here and actually does that just fine. I'm going to do that again for the next one, and then come in and change this to 2014. I'm just up here in the formula bar, online sales. Just a little shortcut. If you want to type them in specifically, that's fine, and then I can use the autofill to do that. How nicely that works. In cell G3, we're going to put percentage. Hold down Alt and enter. Increase, or Alt enter again, decrease. And in I, summary of, Alt enter, categories. And then J, we will put 2015 totals. Now I believe they have us center those and maybe make them bold. You can do all that at your leisure if you'd like. And then the last thing we'll do in this part is put in what they call dummy values. Dummy values, we'll leave store empty for now. We're going to put A for category and 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'll put 50% here for now. Percent. Actually, you can use the percent to set that up, and we'll increase our decimals just to make that correct. And summary category, and then the total is 6. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is make sure I don't forget a step here before I save it. Actually, what they want us to do excuse me, is we're going to put in 3 formulas. In G4, this is the top of page 418. We're going to put in G4 this crazy formula that's in the book. It equals D4 plus. Be very careful to make sure you type them correctly. I always like to double check, as I've already made a mistake. Before I hit enter, F4/C4. Okay, and it should be formatted even though it's the number 50%, which is what we had before, which is good. So for I4, we're going to type in this formula as well. Okay, and I made a mistake. Let's see. Didn't double check myself on that one. A equals if B4. Well, after that B4, I need a comma B4. 1. That's better. It still puts that, which is fine. That's in relation to the category, and that'll come into play later, you'll see. And then the last one is a very bizarre formula. It's also 418. Be careful to not forget your dollar signs to keep these relative formulas. It will matter later. Okay, I want to double check to make sure that's correct. And notice I didn't capitalize. Capitalization is not important because it will. Okay, so I put the 3 formulas in there. And what I'm going to do now is kind of a little crazy. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save it to my USB drive. I'm going to call this Clear Pools. And I'm going to excuse me, save it as an Excel template. Now, I'm going to actually save this in my location on my USB drive. And the idea of a template is if I want to come back later and modify this, the template starts from scratch and I can modify it later, and actually the next part will jump into modifying it as if we're starting from a new set of data.